As always, we kick things off with our Indie of the Week. And this week, it's more of one of our blogs. Kind of.
Ooh.
A little bit
we
different.
went like super indie last time. So yes. this is a good change of pace. Yeah.
I thought so. And at the same time, still kind of indie-esque, because at least a couple of things have appeared as indies previously. But some people may not be aware that North Star Military Figures has a catalogue of painting guides.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Based on that sound, you were unaware of this. So I thought it would be
surprised Pikachu face.
Yes, interesting to highlight this. So nstarmagazine.com is where you will find it.
I love how old this looks.
I love it as well.
Are you sure you're not on the Wayback Machine?
No,
Gerry?
I'm really not. And I can tell you how I know that, because people who get involved
X
with...
instead of Twitter?
I hadn't even noticed that, because I'm blind for social media. People on North Star's Facebook group and that sort of thing will be aware that they do competitions every so often, painting competitions.
Yeah.
And this is the winner of the most recent one.
Oh, right.
The Halloween. So whenever North Star do one of these painting competitions, you get involved via the medium of painting something that they sell. Doesn't necessarily have to be a North Star produced figure, because obviously they have their own range for things like Stargrave and Silver Bayonet and Dracula's America and so on and so forth. Just something off their site. And because they do quite a lot of stuff these days, their painting competitions can be very weird and wacky indeed. That's the winner from the single figure, which is absolutely beautiful. But if you go into here, you can see previous. In fact, if we bring up the Halloween entrance, you can see some of the stuff. This is obviously people from the community get involved at various skill levels. So it's nice to see just people putting paint on miniatures, and then you get some absolutely superb work in there. Be it this delightful fellow. It's
ripping out their own heart.
Just showing it to his ex-wife. See,
this is what you did.
I did have a heart once. There are obviously Halloween themes, so there's a lot of very Halloween-y things in here. I particularly like that, making good use of the female wizards or Wizards 2 box from Frostgrave, presumably on a yellow brick road, I'll have you know, with the stripy pants. And this is another thing I like about the painting competitions, because they do such a large variety of miniatures. I didn't know they did a pulpy looking thing.
No, I didn't know either.
Obviously very mix of the Shadow meets probably the Green Hornet, if he didn't have that cape on him, although because he's got the cape, more shadowy. But yeah, so you've got people getting involved, but the Shoggoth, there's one of Annie's. Fantastic looking things. But that's not why we're here. We're here for the actual painting galleries themselves, which are, in the majority of cases, done by Kev Dallimore. And they are all split down into the area they come from if you're looking for the miniatures. But it means if you're looking to do something like the Great War, then you can go in and have a look at something like World War One weirdness from A War Transformed John, or ... other World War One madness that may or may not be happening anytime soon. Nice thing about this, for several reasons, is the consistency of the paint. And I don't mean that from a painting point of view. I mean the vast majority are army painter paints, regardless of where you're dipping in and out. And I know sometimes, I know myself, I've got like 15 different ranges of paints from various decades. And it's nice to be able to open a painting guide and go, oh, I'm doing World War One. How's he done those? And get your list. And then go to something else like Napoleonics or pulp 1920s or sci-fi or whatever it happens to be, and have the same paint range. The consistency of that means that finding out, how he's done X, Y, or Z is very easy. And then picking up the relevant paints in question is particularly handy as well, because even if you don't have the army painter, there are so many comparison charts online that will tell you what you need to change fur brown in the army painter range to get your GW equivalent or your P3 equivalent or your Vallejo game color equivalent. They're all in there. And also things like this, I absolutely adore. Look at that. Sniper, nice. Wearing one of the World War I sniper helmets, but like skull and crossbones going full Prussian. Don't want to see him. Nice. Well, you wouldn't see him coming, I suppose.
No.
You just get killed up from distance.
Yeah.
Then maybe your friends get to see him scuttling across the sort of silhouetted in the moonlight with his cape fluttering as he runs across the place. That's how I imagine German snipers, and nobody can tell me different. Anyway. So yes, there's a host of these. If I make all of those go away. And there's some really nice bits and pieces. Oh, I've gone too far. I've gone into the page. I want to go up here. There's some really nice detail work on specific periods, or when you're getting in and doing something like Dark Continent stuff, whether it's pulp, so your Legend of Tarzan stuff, or if you're actually doing something that's more historically based, or for example, if you've picked up some Starschlock baboons.
How to rock a baboon's bottom.
Yes. I'm not saying I've been spending a lot of time looking for Starschlock things and painting baboons recently, but as anybody who's listened to me recently will have known, I did say I do like the original baboons, but I felt like my space baboons should be more like the mandrill with the big blue arse and blue face, just to make it more spacey.
It definitely gives it the vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which means you two get to live in a world of baboon goodness. And as you can see here, the guide is step by step with your techniques, and
very in depth.
Yeah. And this is why I like the painting guides that have been put together here. It's just been slowly building up over a decade, and so whenever you suddenly decide that you want to get some sci-fi baboons, and then you go, I really want to paint my baboons like mandrills for reasons. To know that somebody's already done the heavy lifting for me is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Because in that way, I don't have to think or anything. And thinking hurts my brains. You also get things like little bits and pieces about the games themselves here and there. So when they're putting together sort of Oathmark Undead or Death in the Dark Continent sort of lists, you get that sort of thing alongside it as well, which is cute because it gives you an idea of sort of how the game works, or little addendums to the games, things that you can add in beyond the games themselves. So it's mainly here as a painting guide and resource, but there is other things in here as well. And then all accompanied by lovely painting from, like I say, a variety of people, mainly Kev, which is always handy to have whenever you're looking to do something new. And that,
and Kev's style is one that a lot of people are, drawn to as a method of painting. And so having it all there sort of documented like that is really handy for people who want to kind of replicate it across their collections. So,
yeah. Oh, very much so.
Especially if you're trying to marry it up to the product shots from North Star. Like if you're looking at their stuff and you're like, well, that's exactly how I want to paint my stuff. Well, it's all the resources are there for you to kind of follow along. So,
I mean, just even seeing the likes of that. So redcoats, albeit these are sort of your 18th century British redcoats, so French Indian Wars, American War of Independence, things like that. But the same techniques can obviously be drawn across from everything pre-Afghanistan. So Napoleonics, your late Victoriana, they all work for that as well. And it's a good way of seeing how some things perform as well. So the likes of the speed paints, where I know so many people are banging on about dry brushing and zenith and stuff like that. And you can just go, well, do I need to do all of that, or can I just put down a base coat like what it's supposed to be without doing the extra frippery beforehand? And I've seen a few things like this recently. In fact, some of our community members have been doing some speed painty bits and pieces. And I think just using it as is, as nature intended it, off the back of a nice bright base coat without having to do anything else, in some respects helps it. I think some people go a bit too dark trying to zenith and stuff like that, and it loses, becomes a bit muddy in places. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. So yeah, if you're looking for a ridiculous amount of stuff, in fact, I think there's a really nice Lord of the Rings painting bit in here. The question
is
will
it
be,
where he shows off how to paint things like Thorin Oakenshield and stuff? Or because I know he's done that.
He was using the Oathmark stuff to do elves and pieces like that.
Yeah. Because he made a whole Silmarillion styled army, I believe, at one point. Yeah.
Yes. So that's in here, which this may or may not be part of it. I don't think it is. No, it is actually. It's the right color palette behind it. You can see there. Because they did this, then did the dwarves and something else. And old school, that is, he obviously, mixes together layering techniques, but also is not adverse to using dip on occasion to bang out the armies quickly.
Good old-fashioned dip.
I'm a huge proponent of dip, have been since before dip was a thing, when you were just using...
Dip and flick.
When you were just using... varnish, like mahogany varnish or whatever, B&Q. before the army painter came around, it was a staple.
Yeah.
It was a great way of banging undead out in a rate of knots. So yeah, there's just a wealth of it, and it's such a great resource for people to just dive into, even if you're not painting these particular things. If you're just looking for painting horses as a technique or whatever it is, then you'll find them in there. Now, you may have to go digging around a bit to find specific things. But just having it all in here and having it accessible. And I do like painting videos. However, when I'm trying to learn a technique or copy something, having to stop and rewind and stop and rewind and stop and rewind is a pain in the backside. And having something static like a book or a blog with just clear, concise instructions and photos is a thing of beauty that I can never, ever underestimate the value of, particularly in my own painting, because it's just so much easier to refer to rather than having to try and go back and forth sometimes on specific videos. Look, little dappled arse on it. Dapple. You two can dapple. Although he's doing basing there.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I thought I would throw that one out at you and see what sticks to the wall.
Going to give it a read.
Yeah, well, like I say, there's plenty of stuff in there. I think it must be in the Battles of the Lost Age. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because there's the... Oh, missed it again. There you go. You're undead. And that painting undead is particularly nice. So much so that I was looking at it going, I should do some undead. And I was thinking, I've got undead. I've got a lot of them. I can't be arsed. Do you know how many undead you need for an army? Oh, it's ridiculous.
Not too many.
Far too many. But maybe if I could do something simple like this, do them all and then dip them, then off you pop.
That ghostly sheen to them at the end that's really nice.
Yes.
Ethereal look.
Yeah. Done by the medium of getting an old green wash on them. There's a lot to be said about green tone. The army painter green tone is absolutely great. Yeah. Anyway, so yes. North Star, cracking company. Nick does some spectacular miniatures, but it's worth bearing in mind that they've got this whole other resource hidden away. And if you sign up to their newsletter, then you'll generally get links to it in there anyway, if you're if you're not already signed up. But if you don't like to do newsletterings for whatever reason, then just go to nstarmagazine.com and then just
the link will be below as well.
Yeah, dive into the wonderful world of painting. Learn some techniques for painting up your terrain. See, everything is connected. Right. I think it's time to take a look at some news.